own multiple choice unless they tell you otherwise. Like the professor will tell you if like there are going to be calculations on the exams.
Are you giving your score right away after you're done taking the test or
Our professors delegate that. So a couple of our classes now, we get our scores back immediately. Sometimes though, what happens is a question is worded funny, or they keyed it incorrectly on the, what is it called, the key? Yeah. So like everyone would get it wrong. So the professors go back and they look through that. But most of our classes, they don't like it because you're sitting in this, like you literally sit in this classroom. Since we have like our honor code, you don't, like there's not a teacher in here, there's nothing, so it's like dead silent, everybody's on their computer. So the instant feedback type thing is like one of those where you see it and you're like, or you're like, yes, you know what I mean? So they're trying to prevent that with not showing us that instant feedback. I think that's their main reason for not doing it, but some classes do show it. So.
We usually know our grade by the end of the night or the next morning.
They're pretty good about it, for sure. It's nerve-wracking. We're sitting out like, when are they going
So should we have to study for the next one?
Yeah, go ahead.
Is that study groups or tutoring available, or just like an upper class, accelerated person, assistant, or accelerated person?
I would definitely find your group of people like that you study with. We do have tutoring that they come here usually twice a week. There's somebody, an upperclassman that comes and goes over information, asks questions.
Yeah, so when students first start in the summer, so when you start in May of 2020, this student group, the cohort that started in, most of them in May of 19, are finishing. And so the rest of the student population is not on campus. And so during the summer, there is not tutoring. So for 201 and 203 and 210 and 213, there's not current students here on campus that are designated as tutors that are hired through the Academic Success Center. And that's because our current student population, students that are juniors or seniors that had those classes before, aren't here in the summer. But that doesn't mean that the resources to be successful aren't here. We do have, obviously our faculty have many, many hours that they're teaching, plus they're here and they're available, and they give their phone numbers, they give their email, they're responding, and they're available to the students that need assistance. But I think that's where their study groups tend to kind of form initially. And then as far as support, if they need, if they leave the exam, usually during the summer I make sure that I'm here at those times that they're taking their exams traditionally on Tuesday and Wednesday, or Wednesday and Thursday, and have tissues in my office, because I usually have a line of people that want to come down and just say, I think I just failed and my life's over, and then by the next morning they found out they did fine and they move on and panic the next week. So we're here to help them be successful. The idea, and I'll talk a little bit about it in advising, is that obviously you had to meet certain qualifications to be admitted to this program, and so you have to let go of getting a 4.0, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I don't know how to best explain how that has to happen. There are students that have 4.0s in the accelerator program. Pretty sure that they must never sleep, or I don't know. They're naturally this cohort, and to be admitted to any of our nursing programs, you are an intelligent person, so you're capable of being successful. The students that do not take advantage of the resources, or in the fall and the spring when we do have the rest of the student population on campus and we have these help sessions and we have these additional tutoring opportunities, when a student is not being successful in the classroom, that is the first thing that I'm going to do when I'm talking to them, and is ask them if they're taking advantage of those resources, and if they're not, that's going to be, you need to talk to the professor and you need to get to these help sessions. You need to do those first and foremost, because they're designed to help you be successful. Like, asking for help is not a sign of weakness. So, yeah.
I think another part of that, I know one of the classes that we had over the summer, we had lab, and in the lab I noticed that there were always a couple of like senior accelerated students who were there to like I think they were learning or like going over stuff for when they take the end class, but they were super beneficial. I remember going through the lab and having a lot of questions about what was going on, and I was able to ask them, and like they knew what they were talking about and weren't like hesitant to help us out. So I know like even though there may not be like necessarily tutoring available over the summer, like at least for like that class, there were senior students like invited to the labs, and they were super helpful for like us when we were first starting out.
I met a lot of seniors last year that gave me their email, if I had any questions. Everyone's really sort of all studying this ability. You can kind of just bounce off of each other. It's
Any other questions?
I just wanted to add one thing with those senior students. You guys are going to be asked to go into nursing 210 this summer and be those experienced helpers. So it's actually a formal program that we have. Students in the practicum 480 are outgoing, almost finishing accelerated students sign up for lab hours in to assist our incoming class in the lab, and then they also, some will go to clinical as well. And it's just extra hands, an extra person to feel a little bit more comfortable with. Sometimes the students are more comfortable talking to another student versus their instructor, or their instructor also has, 6 to 8 other students there, and so it's just extra assistance and support.
I thought I saw another, yes.
I have 2 questions. Are your grades mostly on tests?
I would say yes.
Can you repeat the question just in case somebody didn't hear
Yeah,
it?
so I don't need this. She asked if most of the grades are compiled from just tests. So it depends on professors, but I would say so far we've had the majority of our class, probably 60% or more, is from exams.
Actually, nursing faculty and you guys have had some of the sophomore level classes, which has a little bit less testing and NCLEX style testing as a percentage, so a little bit lower, but as you continue on, the clinical focus main nursing courses are required to have 85% of your course grade comes out of NCLEX style testing. Yeah. So she's right on target. The sophomore level is a little bit less. We kind of ease them into it.
Group project. I think you guys do a couple of the group projects, right?
Yeah,
and
sometimes
paper.
little reflections.
Yeah.
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 Okay, sorry. For scheduling, do you like to schedule it, or is there someone else that schedules it?
I schedule you. You're a cohort. You have no choices.
It's kind of nice though.
It's very
like,
nice.
I have like now, like you have earlier schedule and the rest of that.
Yeah, you get a choice. Sorry. You're at the will of when the faculty are teaching the course. So because it is a cohort, there's 65 students, give or take a few here or there. Sometimes in the summer we have students that are on the traditional path, but maybe they spend a semester abroad, and so the only courses that our sophomore students can, like a nursing student, if they're going to do a semester, then they have to come back in the summer to pick up those 201, 203, 210, or 213. So sometimes you'll have a couple out, and then again you'll have some students maybe that are repeating a course. Maybe they didn't quite do so well the first time and they need to repeat that one over the summer in a last-ditch effort to stay in the nursing program. So give or take from that 65, but primarily it's that cohort. So the people that are in here are going to be your roommates. They're going to be in your study group. They're going to be a part of that cohort group, and you're in class together. You do have preferences and differences with regard to your clinical experience. As I mentioned, maybe the class has 3 options for this additional piece, and so you get to put your preferences in there. The only choice, or the only difference for students is the Theo. So currently, the theology course that all students are required to take is offered in different sections and different times, and so that might be one of the differences that you have. You might have Tuesday, Thursday at this time, and maybe your roommate's got Tuesday, Thursday 2 hours later or something, because there's currently, the students are spread apart in the different sections for that course. But we're working on another possibility. Maybe by the time orientation happens, we'll have some different information. But currently the Theo is split up that different way. But otherwise, you are literally with the same group of persons. Or your discussion, your lab, you might be a different group. That would be really the only, but again, it's not a choice that you're making. It's kind of done for you.
It's very nice.
Thank you.
You just go in and you just register, done. And then you don't even have to worry about like other people taking like a spot. I know that was a big thing that I had to worry about in my undergrad, was like, what if there aren't enough seats like for a class that I need to take in order to graduate? But like here, you could literally wait until right before classes start.
I would prefer that you not.
You could,
But you could.
You shouldn't.
Yes, you could.
And that's what's nice about the accelerated program, because we have control over our courses. So we can save seats for students that we know are in that cohort. And that's why you can't literally wait until, although Jennifer will tell you cannot wait until the day before classes to sign up, because we're essentially saving you seats. And this is something we're trying, and we work with in partnership with Theo to basically save you seats as well that work for us. So, and we're working on a whole different method for that for next fall. You'll have seats, but we're hoping to make it even easier.
Try really, really hard. So, okay, we have time for maybe another question, and then we're going to take a break and let you grab something to eat in the back.
Before, let me,
okay,
I'm sorry,
go ahead.
Because I'm afraid I'm going to forget. But when we take our break, I wanted you to visit Jordan if you like. She has some lovely t-shirts for students and other things that you can pick up. And also, if you want to confirm your enrollment, she is more than happy to do that with you.
Yeah. And even if you don't drop it off with her today, we will go through kind of what's next and what to expect over the next months before the program begins in May. So please, just keep in mind that we know that there's a lot of information that you still may need, and it may take time. So please know that you don't have to make that decision today. Yes, and question. Yes.
Sorry, she's had laryngitis, that's why I'm studying here. Coming in as a transfer student, how do we know, like, for this next semester, if we meet one-on-one with you to determine what courses she takes before May, or what?
So at the point that the students that you all applied for admission, chances are you've received an email from me, and if you haven't, then you need to let me know, because I believe I've been in communication with every single one of you, and I've let you know if the courses that you're currently taking are finishing those requirements. Maybe there's something that you're taking in the spring. I would suggest that if you are planning to alter any of the courses that you either had on your transcript when you applied for admission, or what you're planning to take in the spring, then that information definitely needs to be verified by both admissions and myself, so that you're not missing a course. Because as you can see from the curriculum, there's no opportunity to add in a course if you forget something. And so we have multiple checks of these transcripts to make sure that we're not missing anything.
But this is the one curriculum where we have no wiggle room, because we're not going to put anyone in any more credits than's already on that piece of paper, because that would just be unmanageable. So we don't do that. So you must come in with all your prereqs done, and that's what Jennifer works very individually with each student. And it's an informal way of doing it, but she'll just tell you via email in a review of your transcript is make sure you take nutrition and statistics, for instance, in spring before you come. We'll know that you've done it. You're already going to start in May. We won't get that transcript to actually verify until you've started the program, but we will be doing those checks along the way. And you will, if for some reason, I withdrew from that class and you've already started, well, it will prolong your program because there's no other way to fit that in. Yeah. So that's why we do if you change anything, just check in with Jennifer to make sure that you're still on track.
And if you weren't familiar, then, and again, Jordan and I have a process when we're communicating about your application. So admission also has that information and knows if if you still have a course left to complete. But again, I can't think of any students that have been admitted that I haven't had that conversation or communication with. Many, many years of experience. I can tell you that I can count on one hand in the 18 years any time that we've missed something. So just trust us. If we tell you you're good, you're good. But if you want to have a more individual conversation, if you want me to go line item by line item with you to verify where I'm putting those credits for you, I'm happy to do that. Yeah. I really was pretty excited because usually at this time of the year, there's a great number of students that are finishing up prerequisites either this semester or next semester, and I literally, there's fewer of those. Like a great majority of other institutions have done a good job of making sure that you've gotten those things through your junior year. So you probably feel like, okay, maybe I don't have to worry about this class my senior year. Or, and you know, we can have an individual conversation about your particular transcript if you have questions about that. You will have my email address when you leave here if you haven't gotten it already, and we can set up a time to talk, you know, more on a personal level if you need to, or an individual level. So, yes?
Nobody really asked it, but we were just like, nobody asked that question. I feel like everyone asked last year. Do you guys have any, like, opinions or ideas or neat ideas of places to live? We, like, know good places that work with us and stuff like that, so.
Yeah, that reminds me, thank you. Yeah. So one of the things that has been around for about 10 or 11 years is there is a Facebook group for admitted students. I'll send you an invitation to that group. It serves definitely a recruitment in the sense that current students and alumni that have graduated in those 10 years are on there answering questions for you. So it can serve to be a connection for somebody from another area. But really, it's so that I can, once you're admitted, I can kind of put information there. You probably get a million different emails, and I know Facebook probably isn't your social media jam, but it is another avenue for me to allow you to connect with other students coming into the program, because I can't tell you, oh, these kids are, there's like 15 of you coming from Grand Valley State, or there's, you know, 10 of you coming from here. So that Facebook group allows you to kind of get into those pieces. And again, this program is more like a graduate level program. So, you know, some of the other pieces that you might get, or bits of information that they may not necessarily be applicable towards you. You may not be as excited to participate in maybe some other, you know, you're not planning to join clubs or organizations because you're going to be in this. Maybe you are, and you can if you're really, really organized, but most of the students